Hey guys, what's up? It's Tyler Kluver. This is the Snapped Podcast. So glad that you're joining me. On this podcast, we're going to talk about diet, exercise, mindset, training, sports, performance, and any of the things that we discuss, me or the guests that I bring on, is going to help you get better and help you get healthier in some way or another. We're glad you're here. Sit back, relax. Let's have it. What's up, baby? It's Thursday. It's not Wednesday. It's Thursday. Had on my list yesterday. I have a list. You should have a list. A running to-do list that just sits right in front of me at my computer all day. And on my list, new Snapped episode. Every Wednesday, it goes on the list. And for some reason, babies, I didn't get it done yesterday. I just skipped right over it. Didn't cross it out. It's sitting right there in between everything else that's crossed out on my list. And I just didn't do it. Part of that was because I was doing the other podcast, and the other podcast that actually makes money for me and is my income. So had to call an audible on how we recorded our episode yesterday. It was in pieces. And that's probably why I forgot about this one. This is the second most important podcast I do, which isn't saying much. But today, I don't know if this episode is going to make you healthier or better in any way, but I want to talk about something that, again, current event, what happens in my life. I want to talk about something that happened for me last night and that has happened for me oftentimes. And it's almost like a phenomena. It's this. Let me explain. There's actually two parts to this episode, and I was hoping that this episode would be short, but you guys know me. First of all, you know me. I yawn on the podcast, baby. I'm yawning right now. Part of that is because I didn't get as much sleep as I would have liked to last night, which is what I'm going to talk about, or it's relevant to what I'm talking about. Part of that is because I yawn on this podcast, and it's super respectful. So there's two parts to this. And I guess the overall theme is lean into. Sometimes it's better to lean into where your body and your mind is taking you instead of fighting it. A couple weeks ago, I was scrolling through Twitter, or I don't know. It might even been, I'm signed up for Tim Ferriss's 5-Bullet Friday. I don't know if anybody knows what that is, but he just sends out an email every Friday with 5 things that he read or listened to or found that week to be exciting or interesting. Books, podcasts, articles, songs, gadgets that he uses for certain things. He just 5 things every Friday. And I think he might have posted an article about procrastination. And it was like, are you a procrastinator? It was like one of those, are you a procrastinator? Is this title of the article? It's like, well, yeah, I'm obvious. Everybody procrastinates. And I started reading down through the article. And it was, again, the yawn. It was best way to deal with procrastinating. And the number one, I thought this was interesting. The number one suggestion was lean into it. Just procrastinate. Generally, the outcome, all said and done, when the deadline finally comes on the thing that you have to get done, what is your general outcome of that? Do you usually have it done or do you usually not? If the answer is you always get it done eventually, well, then who cares? Procrastinate then. If you're great at doing it last minute, and this speaks to me very heavily because in college, this is exactly how I did everything. I would wait until it was due the next day, the assignment, the paper, whatever it may be. I'd cram it in and we'd be good. That's how I do a lot of things. Most people are better under pressure when they have to get something done. They have a time frame. But if you give me something to do that I know I can get done in 2 hours and you give me 7 days to do it, I'm probably not going to just do it right away. Right? So the suggestion was just lean into your procrastination. Whatever your mind is telling you you should do rather than the work you need to get done, do it. So I started actually doing this. I am super into video games. Most recently Minecraft I'm super into. And so during the day, if I feel like I want to play Minecraft for like, even if I just want to turn on Minecraft and play it for 10 minutes, I do it. And then I realize, oh, I got my fix. I'm ready to go back and do work now. And net time that it takes to get through that whole scenario, I actually end up being more productive over that hour or 2 hours or whatever it is. Instead of sitting there with my work up in front of me, not typing anything, not coming up with anything, and just thinking about playing Minecraft for a half hour. I just go play Minecraft for 10 minutes, come back, and then I'm ready to work. So I've leaned into that. And then so keep that in mind, leaning into that, what your mind and body is telling you to do. So now we come to the situation I was in last night, which is a situation that I find myself in, I would say once every month. I would say once a month, I find myself in one of these scenarios. But to the extent that it was last night, the extremeness of what I felt last night, that usually doesn't come around but once every 4 to 6 months, right? And what I'm describing is a time where I go to bed and then I wake up in the middle of the night. It's almost to the minute, always 2 a.m. on the dot. Every time it's happened, it's been almost 2 a.m. on the dot. And I am wide awake. It's different than other times I wake up other nights. I can immediately recognize that mentally I'm more clear. Physically, I feel almost completely rested, like it's the morning and I've had a whole night's of sleep. And after about 1 or 2 minutes, I recognize fully that that's where I'm at. And I'm just wide awake laying there. And my brain goes into a mode that I can only describe as Jimmy Neutron's brain blast. If anybody has ever watched Jimmy Neutron, and because this is the Snapped podcast, I am going to search Jimmy Neutron on the show. Maybe it's called Blast Off. I don't know. Brain. Oh, no. It's Brain Blast. Here we go, baby. I'm going to share the video because I can do that. We're going to share screen. This one, share. All right. And I don't know if you guys can hear the. Hold on. I'm going to also share the sound. So this is what my brain does on these specific nights. Here we go. That was anticlimactic. Essentially what happens though is it's an animated show if no one's ever watched it, and the camera view like zooms in through his skull, like into his brain. It's showing all of the synapses and everything firing. And all of a sudden, like he has these great ideas. And that is what my brain feels like it's doing on these nights. The first time it happened to me was the night that I had just gotten let go from my job at the Elite Edge gym that I was working at for 5 months. I was training in person. It was 2 weeks before the pandemic fully went into effect. So I think I got let go on February 28th or 29th of 2020. I had 2 weeks before we were going on a family vacation. And then after we got back from vacation, which would have then been 3 weeks from the time I was let go, that was going to be a time where I needed to figure out what I was doing for a job, for my life, my career. And the first brain blast moment I had was somewhere I think it was the Tuesday before we left for that vacation. So it was about 10 days after I got let go. I woke up and it was almost it's almost a hallucinogenic experience. My eyes are closed laying there, but I'm fully awake and I'm watching these ideas come across to me at lightning speed. I'm feeling it. God, it's so weird. It almost sounds like a trip, like a drug trip. I'm feeling answers to questions just like dig themselves up out of the earth or just pop up in the sky. And I'm just like answering question after question. And what questions am I answering? Well, for me at the time, it was, what am I going to do? What skills do I have? How am I going to make money? What came out of that first night was 2.5 hours of me laying there doing this. Again, my eyes are closed. I'm laying there. I'm fully awake. And all of these ideas are coming across like a film strip, like a movie. And things are just piecing themselves together, working themselves out, creating. And the first time I did it was the night that I came up with the 30-day challenge, which is a moment right now in my life, and probably I hope will stay a moment in my life that I can point to where my day to day and what I do as a career changed forever. In a matter of 2.5 hours, I sat there and conceptualized and brainstormed the 30-day fast fit challenge, which the next 2 to 3 days I put on paper and put together in a tangible form. Not just the ideas for the challenge, but how I was going to market the challenge, ways I was going to sell it, how I was going to go about Twitter strategy, how I was going to go about advertising, paid advertising, the things I wanted to really hit home with, the everything that had to do with this challenge. And 2 weeks later, it ended up making me $7,000 in 2 days from the time I released it. The first 2 days I made $7,000, and it kind of changed the last couple of years of my life. And since then, I've had maybe 2 or 3 more of these crazy nights where I wake up, like I said, and things just start to click on a just NASCAR level speed. Last night happened to be one of those nights. And I compare it to sort of the procrastination in the fact that when I want to procrastinate, I'm just starting to lean into that procrastination. When I have a night like I did last night, or like I did when I created the 30-day fast fit, I lean into that and I do not try and go back to sleep. There's a few minutes in there where you're like, oh, come on, I want to go back to bed. I need to sleep. I'm super focused on trying to get rest and recovery for my workouts that I'm doing. because sleep is super important for that. But then there comes a point where I'm like, okay, this is what's going down. I'm having a brain blast moment and I need to just lean into this because I know that it's good. And it was good. Last night happens to be 1 month from now. Hopefully, many of you who listen to this probably have participated in that Fast Fit Challenge. Part of my fitness business is that I run community challenges, right? So I've run the Fast Fit Challenge 4 or 5 times at this point. Last year around this time, we were getting ramped up to do the Hammer the Holidays challenge, which went okay. Didn't go as well as I had hoped. And now this year, for the last few days, have been trying to conceptualize and create a new 30-day challenge or a New Year's challenge, probably be 31 days since January has 31 days in it, that I can release because I have not done a New Year's challenge yet. And that's sort of the common, most well-known time that everybody picks up and is ready to try something new. They're ready to do a challenge, to do a new workout program, a new diet. They're ready to change themselves, the New Year's resolution, right? So I've known that I'm going to do a challenge in January, but not a lot of the specifics had been figured out yet. And last night, seemingly every single detail flashed across my eyes and figured itself out. It is a wild, wild phenomena that happens. And it's a clear pattern, right? It's not, it's been repeated. And so quickly before I end the podcast, and this isn't even like, I don't even have a solution on how you get to this moment. Maybe you guys have these moments as well without really trying. I don't think it's something that you can really create. For me, again, it's happened maybe 3 or 4 times to this level over the course of going on 2 years now. And I searched a little bit about it. I found this: the science behind your eureka moment. Apparently, cognitive scientists have found out that there's a phenomenon called pattern recognition that takes place in the brain only when it is in a very relaxed state. In this process, the brain is relaxed enough to make new connections and allow new neural pathways to form. This helps us find creative solutions for problems we otherwise might not have thought of. Another point to take note of is that when we enter sleep, the brain steadily dismantles the models and concepts we use to interpret the world, leading to moments of leading to moments of experience unconstrained by our usual mental filters. In fact, psychologists from UC San Diego found we are at our peak in creativity during REM sleep, when we dream. This, and obviously many of you would probably echo that. Some of the shit that we dream, that you dream, that I dream, you wake up and you're like, holy smokes, that was weird. You would never think of the stuff that you dream of when you're awake, but when you're asleep, you come up with these weird ass dreams where you're in a maze trying to escape monsters, or you're doing stuff that you would never do in real life, right? This also explains why we come up with the most creative solutions or ideas in the shower, on a walk, lying in bed at night, or even sleeping. The brain is simply relaxed enough to let those connections take place. A Berkeley study found that sleep can foster remote associates or unusual connections in the brain, which could lead to major aha moments upon waking. Bottom line, when we sleep, or when we're simply very relaxed, we don't process things with our usual mental filters in place, which can help us make seemingly unrelated connections. And it makes sense, right? You're super relaxed in the shower or on a walk or on when you're in bed. Your guard is down, right? The fight or flight that we walk through each day with is, we don't have that guard up, that wall of, oh shit, I have to be ready to talk to somebody, or oh shit, I have to do this. I have this work that needs to be done, or, we are in a relaxed, especially if you exercise and you get those hormones to release and everything's kind of in balance. So I think this is what's happening to me, and I just call it a brain blast. It's my Jimmy Neutron brain blast. And It's honestly some of the most incredible shit that I've ever experienced. And it's literally, several nights have literally created an income for me. I mean, I'm talking like 3 nights of work, 3 or 4 nights of work, 2 hours apiece, 8 total hours over the last 18 months has literally formed and shaped my business structure when it comes to doing community fitness challenges and how I go about one-on-one coaching with clients. It is absolutely wild. And I have a lot of what I would call brain blast light moments where it's like vanilla, it's like Hershey syrup light. It's not quite to the full extreme, but there's, 30 minutes to an hour when I wake up and it's not as lucid or so clear or so fast paced. But there's nights where I'll wake up and I'll have a couple ideas about the Washed Up Walk-Ons podcast where, oh, I want to get this guest on, or I think of 3 or 4 really, really good questions for this guest, or I want to do this to market our new merchandise, or this, that, the other, for all the business stuff that is involved with that. But man, crazy, crazy moments. And I don't even know how to explain it, but it's just this wild thing that I go through. And I lean into it. I don't try and shut myself off, because when I try and sleep, it muddies the water. I'm not able to fall asleep, but it makes all of these ideas that I'm having super fuzzy, and I can't collect them or really place them in an order. And so I've been leaning into those when they happen. I've been leaning into procrastination when it happens. Been some weird stuff. And I don't know if that helps any of you guys, but it's 20 minutes to listen to me talk about weird shit that happens to me, and maybe that's entertaining and maybe you connect with it. I don't know. Snapped episode on a Thursday because I forgot on Wednesday. Things keep happening. I'm going to continue to podcast each week. We're almost to the end of the year. I mean, we only got 9 more weeks, 9 more podcasts, and I officially get through this year with only 1 or 2 missed weeks, and one of them was on purpose. So pretty proud about that. We're going to keep banging away. This is therapeutic for me. Maybe this podcast creates some brain blast moments for you guys. Who knows? We'll talk to you next week. Peace.